I'm Amy Taylor. I'm a class teacher at Port Erroll School, and I also deal with the STEM development within the school.
I'm Yvonne O'Neill, head teacher here at Port Erroll School in Cruden Bay in Aberdeenshire. A lot of work was being done in the school, so we had themed weeks, curriculum progressions taking place. We had teachers working together, supporting each other, in best practice with things like coding. But we really felt we needed to get that out there to our parents and families, and with a real focus on just raising awareness of STEM, what it is, the enjoyment of it, the benefits of it, the future careers that have STEM is very much part of it. And so we wanted to get it out there, but we wanted to do it in an engaging way whilst we couldn't actually meet with parents at that point because it was all during lockdowns and COVID restrictions. And it was at that point that Amy had the wonderful ideas of the family nights as they have now run.
Yeah. So my first idea was to create a CSI STEM theme night. So you had your science aspects of it, you had maths involved, you had there was actually, although it's not STEM, there was the literacy-based activities within it as well. And technology was one of the key things because we were going to be using Teams with the parents in order to run the activity. The way that we facilitated was we created Teams. So we sent out the link to the parents that they could join, and gave instructions on how to do that as well initially, because I think that's important because at that time, not all children or not all parents had been utilizing Teams. So I actually created like an instruction leaflet on how to access the team. So they would go in there and we had like a tile that they could go on to, and the link would be there to join. Then they would join, and what we would do is we would explain the activity, how it's going to work, and we would put each family off into breakout rooms. So they would be given some time, and then they would be asked to come back to report their findings, and then they would go away again for maybe the next bit and come back and report their findings. And then what happens at the end is they would the family would come back in and they would say who they thought it was, and myself or Yvonne would say yes or no, you maybe need to go back and have a little look at this clue. And
parents have enjoyed it, but I think the children go home
really
saying,
enjoyed it. Yeah.
I want to do it. And it costs nothing. Quite often, if you're doing something in school, sometimes it's also a fundraiser, whereas it was free entertainment, really,
Absolutely.
for them. And I think we tended to do them in the colder months as well, if I remember rightly. And again, knowing that that's when we're going to get them in, it gives them something to do. So we were really quite chuffed to have, that amount of our families joining in.
So you can see that some said problem solving, science, reading, maths, technology, code breaking. So there was definitely, the activity in itself raised awareness of the different skills that they were using throughout. Other feedback that we said, what was the impact of completing this activity? So they thought it was a great family activity, and doing it together. My daughter was very engaged and she was doing more problem solving in science, learning about how STEM activities come together in a practical activity, and just having that feedback really helped us gauge whether it was a success or not and what we can do moving forward. We also asked if they would like more and what would they like to have in it. We asked the children that at school, and they really loved the links to the teachers within the school. They thought that was fun. My bit of advice would be, make it hands-on, be practical. I think, there's lots of PowerPoints out there, information out there. What is STEM? Why is it good in the classroom? And, how it can be used. But the reality is the best way to learn STEM is to do STEM and to just figure it out and carry out lots of different activities, and don't be afraid to mess up and try again and do different things. I think really, and also that's how you're going to capture people's engagement, whether it be children or adults, is to get them involved, get them hands-on, figuring out problem solving, and investigation is the best way, in my opinion.